Do you have a math or a science test coming up? Well, that means the review is just around the corner. And are you a little bit nervous that your students might think the review is boring? Well, I have the answer to your problems, and that is Kahoot. Kahoot is a fun and engaging way for students to both learn and review what they need to know. It's important to point out that Kahoot is not only used in the classroom. Businesses all over the world use Kahoot as a way to engage its people in what they want them to understand and know. Kahoot is free. It's free for educators to set up their account so they can develop quizzes for their students. And one of the best parts is that students don't need their own accounts to participate in Kahoot quizzes. Getting your free account is super easy. The first thing you want to do is open up your web browser and go to getkahoot.com. So that's GETKAHOOT.com, and you will be taken to this home page. From here, you want to click on Get My Free Account, and then you will be taken to this page. The first thing you have to do is identify what your role is. Are you a teacher, a student, or are you in a business? For our sake, I am going to select that I am a teacher. Then you will be prompted to fill out the following things. What school do you work at? Come up with a username, attach it to an email, and get a password. And from there, you create your own account. I have used Kahoot in my classroom for the past school year with my fifth graders, and I have used 2 official Kahoots in our classroom. Once you have your own account, this is your personal homepage. So as you can see, the first thing you're greeted with is creating a new Kahoot, and you actually have 3 options. The first one is a quiz, the second one is a discussion, and the third one is survey. I am looking forward to trying out the discussion portion of Kahoot next year in my classroom, but this past school year I have focused on the Kahoot quiz, and that is the purpose of this video, is to teach you how to create a Kahoot quiz and then play with your students and analyze the results that you are given. Off to the right hand side, you can also see my stats. So like I said, I have done 2 Kahoot quizzes in my 5th grade classroom this past school year. With a combined total of 32 questions, we've played it 3 times and 47 players have played my quizzes. The first one I did was all the way back in April, and we were reviewing our unit on expressions and the order of operations. The other Kahoot quiz that we did was a Unit 8 math review, which centered on geometry and analyzing data. Now I'm going to take the time to actually go through a Kahoot quiz with you. So let's say I wanted to access my quizzes. You get your Kahoot quizzes up at the top here where it says My Kahoots. So once you click on that, you are given a list of all the quizzes or surveys or discussions that you have created. I want to play the Unit 8 math review with my students. I am technically the Kahoot master, so only I can get to this screen. All my students need is some type of handheld device with the internet. That can be an iPad, an iPhone, a tablet. Doesn't matter. So make sure all of your students have devices. Once you are ready to play, click play, and you are taken to this screen. I love the music that plays in the background, but for the sake of this video, I am going to keep it off for the moment. So once you and your students are ready to go, you want to make sure your students have a handheld device with the internet and that you are displaying your computer on a big screen in your classroom so all of your students can see. I use the smartboard in my classroom. So this would be, once I click launch, this is going to be displayed on my smartboard in my classroom. Once it connects, your quiz is given this game pin. So this game pin will allow your students to access your quiz. This is why they do not need their own accounts. So this definitely needs to be displayed in your classroom on a big screen. And like I said, I use a smartboard. So now that this page is displayed in your classroom for all of your students to see, they can see the game pin. Now, what each student who wants to participate in the quiz is supposed to do is open up a new web browser and they type in the website kahoot.it. Kahoot.it, and they are led to a page that looks like this. So again, it's Kahoot.it. Once they are at this page, they can enter the game pin that you are displaying. So our game pin is 702438. So we would type that in. 702438, and they click enter. Then students get to type in a nickname. I just have my students type in their first name. So I will be Carrie, and then they join game. So now it prompts them, and this is what their screen will look like. You're in. Did you see your name appear at the front? So now I'm going to click back to my page. And again, this is displayed in the front smart board. It tells me I have one player that's joined, and then they list all of the names down here. Let's say one of your students misspells their name. That has happened before. All you have to do is click it, and you can delete their name. Then they go to Kahoot.it one more time, type in the game pin, and they're ready to go. Once you see that all of your students are in, so I had 23 students in my classroom, I would wait for 23 players, and I would see all of their names down here. Once you have everybody, you can click Start Now. So here is the intro that I created for the Unit 8 Math Review. And they post the question. So this displays on the smart board or whatever board you have. So you saw what the smart board would look like as you are playing your quiz. This is what your students' tablets or iPads or phones will look like. They will have 4 options and 4 colors that correspond with the question up at the top. So the question is 28ths of a meter is how many centimeters? So you look, red is 28, blue is 2 8/10, orange is 28 thousandths, and then green is 280. So the students will look up at the smart board and decide which answer they want. And so looking at this, let's say the student thinks 28 would work. So they look on their device and all they do is click. So Kahoot will let you know automatically whether or not you get the question correct. Once all the students have answered, this will be displayed on the smart board, and the teacher and the rest of the students can clearly see how many kids got it wrong, how many got it right, what was the most common misconception. This is great because once the quiz has been, or a question has been answered, the teacher can go over it whole class. If they see everyone or most people got it right, they know they can move on. If a lot of kids had trouble, they can stop, go over a couple teaching points, and then move on with the quiz. So once this teacher thinks the class is ready, he or she will click next and it will go on to the next question. So it will be very similar. The next question will come up on the smart board, and you heard the music that plays in the background. The question will be there along with any images and then the options. Again, the students will have 4 colors on their device: red, blue, yellow, and green, and they just select the color that they think the correct answer is. You probably noticed that there was a timer in the left-hand side of the screen, and you can adjust that as you create your own quiz. Okay, so let's say I wanted to go on to the next question. So I hit next. And one of the cool things about Kahoot is that they display a scoreboard between every finished question. And what they'll do is rank the top 5 kids in the class. And they won't show all of the kids. They will just go for the top 5, and they will let you know how many Kahoots you have or how many points you've earned per question. So that they'll do that between every question. So if I hit next, we would go to the next question. For the sake of time, I am going to end quiz now so you can see what it looks like. But before I do that, I do want to point out one more thing on the student device. Up in the right, it will remind you of the game pin in case someone gets knocked out with the internet. They can log back in the quiz at any time. It will tell you what question you're on, your place, and then how many Kahoots or how many points you've earned. So let's say I end the quiz. And once you end the quiz, or once the quiz finishes, it will say the winner. So whoever earned the most points or how many Kahoots. They will say how many questions they answered correctly and how many they got incorrect. So once you show your class that, you can generate feedback and results. You can rate the quiz, and then going to the final results, again, it will rank the kids in order for how many Kahoot points they earned. What feature I like to use, but I don't share with my class, is downloading the results. So with Kahoot, after you finish your quiz with your students, you can download an Excel document that will have each of your students' names, and it will tell you how many points they earned and how they performed on each question. So obviously as teachers, we can see the benefit of that. So you know exactly how your students were answering the questions and what they still might need help with.